Appreciate you doing this.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And today's episode is all about financial literacy, financial freedom, living a life beyond rich, which Peter Culver, our guest today, he's going to talk to us all about. He's founder of Freedom Family Office. We'll learn more about the work that he does. We're going to talk
Sure.
about entrepreneurship and selling your business. And I'm happy to welcome him to the show. So, Peter, welcome.
Dr. Koo, thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Happy to do this. Happy to do this.
Call me Chris, so please do the same.
Okay. Just trying to be respectful, but
yeah, you and me
very
we had
good.
a really interesting talk before we started. So kind of talk about your background and your journey, and we'll.
So I'm from the Northeast, grew up in Connecticut, and have pretty much swirled around Metro New York for my career. I was originally trained as a lawyer and practiced law for 12 years. And through a somewhat accidental set of circumstances, I ended up teaming up with a group of people who started a trust company and wealth management firm. Actually, originally I was a lawyer for that entity. I formed it, got it off the ground. And when it was formed, they said, why don't you come over and work at the company? And to make a long story short, I wasn't doing that for more than a month. And I found being an entrepreneur, having a more client-facing job, working primarily for entrepreneurs, I knew I'd never go back to being a lawyer. So it was great training, and I use it all the time to help my clients. But a lot of America, the business model of being a lawyer is charging by the hour, which is a horrible business model. Anyway, so I've been doing this now probably for 30 years. And people ask me when I'm going to quit, and I say, I don't know if I'm ever going to quit because I love what I do. So I feel fortunate to have sort of accidentally landed in what turned out to be a really good, I wouldn't even call it a career. It's just I get up every day, I talk to super successful, interesting people.
Yeah, same here. I get to talk to individuals such as yourself and really just
Yeah.
fascinating ideas. Yeah, it's really interesting because I talked to a lot of individuals such as yourself, and they said they hate this charge by the hour model because
Oof.
it's the worst, and they feel like they're a slave and they get taxed, and the most successful ones are entrepreneurs things
And we kind of turn that around in our business. It's just we try and think a lot about this. I don't want to be too crass about it, but how much value can we create either for the client or for ourselves in an hour, right? So, and when we do that math, often the leverage is 5, 6, 10 times what a lawyer could ever charge for their time. So I just think it's a freer way to work.
Yeah. So kind of moving on, and I can feel
Yeah.
your passion. What is this? You talk about how to live rich beyond money.
Yeah.
Talk
So
about
that's our little tagline. And maybe I'm going to talk you through what if we were doing a slideshow would be a slideshow. I'll do it quickly. So often, essentially, Freedom Family Office is a family office, which means we provide both traditional wealth management services and some other very interesting qualitative services that I'm going to talk about. So what we find is people initially contact us for a very specific reason, sort of what the psychologist or the doctor might call the presenting problem, right?
Yeah.
And in our world, there are 3 common things that people call us about. One is saving money on taxes. And that might be of great interest to your audience because that's probably our core technical competence, is helping people significantly reduce the taxes that they pay. Contact us is about investing in real estate. You might think that seems a little weird, but we have a sister company that develops and owns multifamily housing. And we got into that about 15 years ago, because it's a good investment if you do it well. It's also a very tax efficient investment if you do it well. And then the other often reason people contact us, our clients are business owners. At any given time, some part of them are thinking about selling their business. So we're active in exit planning. But what's interesting is once we kind of get through the presenting problem and ask the prospective client, well, what's really on your mind? And what we found is they tend to say three things. One is, and these are mostly words they use, not words we made up, is that they're looking for financial freedom. They want to have enough money to do what they want to do. They want to have enough money to not worry about money. So, and often they're thinking, especially the business owner, okay, I got a business. It's paying for me. It's paying for my health care, for my car, for all my meals. What happens if I don't want to have my business anymore? Where is that stream of income going to come from? Yeah. The second thing they talk a lot about is personal success. And what's going on there is, presumably by definition, a successful entrepreneur is really successful at running their business. They are not, by their own admission, often as successful in their personal finances, right? So they don't manage their taxes well. They don't have a plan to generate income when they retire. They don't have their estate plan up to date. What are all of those things? And then what's been really interesting to us, I think a lot of people in the public world think all entrepreneurs are interested in is increasing their monetary wealth. So we have an exercise we go through with all of our clients where we say to them very simplistically, close your eyes, look out into the future for 5 or 10 years, and paint for us a picture of what we call the ideal life. Now, you might think of business owners as, it would say immediately, oh, if I have $10 million in the bank, I'm all set, or 20 or whatever it is. They never answer the questions that way. They talk about where they want to be, what they want to be doing, who they want to be doing it with, sometimes who they don't want to be doing it with anymore. And sort of the way we've captured that is they have in mind some higher purpose to their life other than just making money, supporting their family. That takes many manifestations in different people's lives, right? Mm-hmm. But it's sometimes surprising to people that entrepreneurs, we just have a new client who joined us yesterday. And I said on a call to him, I said, what are you looking for? What's your vision of the future? And he said, I want freedom of time and purpose, not money. He didn't talk about money. So that's where the slogan, we kind of try to put all that together. And we say our clients deserve to be rich beyond money. They need that financial foundation at some level to do what they want to do. But they have dreams that go beyond just money and finances. So simplistically, what we're trying to do is take our skills, which are in a bunch of technical areas, financial planning, taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning, but not just to kind of like ride the bicycle to do all that stuff, to help the client get to their vision of their ideal life. So it's as equally qualitative as it is quantitative. So in a nutshell, that's how we think about what we're trying to do.
Yeah, interesting and fascinating. And so kind of what is the first step for this self-actualization? How do you advise business owners to think about financial freedom?
So what we typically do with a brand new client is kind of the portal into our world is what's really a consulting project, which we call the Freedom Journey. And essentially what we do is, one, we go through this visioning exercise with the client. It's not a long conversation, but we have as an exercise we developed called True North. And that's kind of about if your heart had a compass, where would it point? And it doesn't point to your balance sheet, right? It points somewhere else. I gather a lot of your clients, your listeners are professionals. A lot of getting to your ideal life is about time management. So all of us who are successful entrepreneurs struggle with our job takes over our calendar rather than us running our calendar, right? So you've got to focus on time management to make that transition. So we have another exercise we do with clients called Perfect Week, which is, I don't know if anyone on the call is familiar. There's a famous coaching program for entrepreneurs called The Strategic Coach, and run by a famous guy called Dan Sullivan. If you enter the course, the very first day, the very first thing they do is they hand out a little booklet, which is a year-long calendar, 6 months on the front, 6 months on the back. And whoever's leading the course says, the very first thing I want you to do is open up your calendar and put your vacations in your calendar. So that's one example. We take that down to a slightly more granular level and talk about the management of a week and making sure that you're carving out things in your week that fit into this ideal life category rather than the monetary, enrichment category. So that's fun. So that's half of it. Then what we do is we do a deep dive into all the components of their financial life. And basically what Freedom Family Office is a team of what we call subject matter experts in each of those areas. And what we're trying to do is identify all the things that they're doing now or aren't doing now that might be a roadblock to getting where they want to get to. So how can we improve what they're doing now to get them kind of on their journey? So, what's the old phrase? Begin with the end in mind, right? And then what often happens as a result of that is they will say, oh, I thought you had something really smart to say about my investment. So would you take a deeper look at those, that kind of thing. But we start with that. It sounds a little highfalutin, but sort of that philosophical construct around, no, we're not just trying to grind the wheels in all those areas. It's where are we headed? And that has seemed to resonate with a lot of business owners.
I love that. I really love that.
And we just meet the most interesting people. I remember when I was a lawyer, I had a lot of business owner clients, and my favorite thing to do was this is the old days, these don't really exist anymore, but if a guy who was a client of mine had a manufacturing firm, I would say, I want to come and see your plant. Just get out of the darn office and go see the man or woman in their business. And this was a much more interesting world to me than the volumes of books that are applicable in the law. I liked it when I did it, but this is just so much better.
You mentioned also this transition from business owners to investors. And what are some common mistakes that business owners make when becoming investors?
So it's interesting you should ask that, because right now, actually, I'm in the midst. I'll complete it this afternoon, actually, right when I get off the phone with you, is we're doing a 3-part webinar series on exit planning. So how to get ready to sell a business, how to actually sell a business, and today what you should do after that. So I would say a couple of things is entrepreneurs by definition are, not in the bad sense, impulsive, action-oriented, better not to cogitate, better just to move, right? They're very used to being in control, right? Or at least of what's within the sandbox of their business. So if you take that hat, you sell your business and you take that hat off, and now you're an investor, the paradigm almost stands on its head, right? Because you're going to give your money maybe to some other person who's going to manage it for you. And the success of it is dependent on a market that you have no control over whatsoever, right? So it's a mind shift there. So we work very hard to help the transition from being a business owner to being an investor is as much, I would say, a psychological transition as a, boots on the ground type transition. So we just have had a lot of experience sort of helping people through that. And often, what is the old saying? Concentrate to create, diversify to protect. And I know that sounds a little boring, but there is some truth to that, right? If you have full control of a business enterprise, you're probably more comfortable concentrating all your energy and effort on that. And that usually produces the greatest success, right? So, Elon Musk doesn't want to answer to anybody, right? He just wants to call all the decisions, just to use one example. Yeah. When you get into investing in the public markets where you can't control what happens in any company or a part of the market or interest rates or any of that stuff, sometimes being more diversified is a better way to protect what you've worked so hard to create.
I love that. Yeah. Really fascinating. I've really enjoyed talking with you. How can people contact you, learn more about your...
Oh, sure. I would say there are a couple. The best ways to reach us are three, and I truly mean this. I'm old enough that I still use this little device called the telephone all the time. So if you want to call me on the phone, just call me on the phone or text me. That's 917-697-4156. You want to email me, it's just Peter at Freedom Family Office. In the more modern world, all created by the young technologically oriented people who work for us, the way a lot of people reach out is if you go to the URL www.talktofreedom.com. It's a very, very short questionnaire where you can put your name, your address, your phone number, and what's on your mind in the wealth management arena. And you can schedule a call with us. And typically we would start literally with like a 15 or 20-minute call just to see if there's some commonality there. Do you have a problem that we can solve? And does it sound to you like we kind of have the mindset you want? And then we see where it goes. We're low pressure. We want people to come to us, not us beat them to the ground. Do you know what I mean? So we just have a frank exchange about sort of some of the things that we've just talked about this afternoon, and then what are their issues, and maybe we can help them with those issues. And we look at ourselves much more as advisors than people selling products. We love to use all those products, but they're just tools to us. It's not, they're a means to an end, not the end in itself. That's kind of our philosophy. So we'd love to hear from anybody that thought some of this might be applicable to their situation.
Yeah, I love that. Fantastic conversation. And for all the audience, reach out to Peter, give him a like. Yeah. And with that, thanks so much for coming on.
And if I get to Houston sometime, my buddy Nick says it gets to be like 110 there in the summertime. I don't think I'm going in the summertime. All the best to you.
Thank you.